Good morning, everybody. Welcome to It's Just a Game of Two Halves. And good morning to you, Charlie.
Good morning. How are you?
How are you surviving in the weather?
It's gone down to, if it's meant to only be 26 today, so it's going to be a lot cooler than it has been.
You know what makes me laugh? All the people in England that, come over here for their holidays, they've all been moaning to me about the weather. And people that come over here, they'll get to the airport 4 in the morning, they'll go on the lash, they'll arrive, they'll go straight down the beach somewhere, sit outside the bar all day with their top off, white one side, pure white. And then by the afternoon, they're red one side, white the other side, looking like a marshmallow. And get drunk all day, and the next day do the same thing for 7 days, 10 days. They're here, and they don't moan about the weather here. But the minute it's not in England, they don't not non-stop moaning about the weather.
I know, yeah. I'm not complaining because it won't happen for long.
Yeah, you want to work in it. People want to realise when they're moaning about it in England, I have to work in it, out in it, all day, every day, 8 hours. Anyway,
Yeah,
Charlie, we're Robbie-less today. Robbie is where you was last week. He's in Lloret de Mar in Spain for a holiday.
yeah. Good luck to him.
Yeah, do you know something? He works hard, Robbie. I can't tell you how hard that lad works. He's got his own English school over in somewhere in the dark wilderness of Poland, right on the border of Ukraine. And he really does do a lot for his family, and he deserves a really good break. Charlie, we're starting to come to the end of the group stages of the World Cup. And so far, do you think there's been any surprises of any teams that's been eliminated?
Um, I think the surprise teams who have been eliminated will probably be maybe Uruguay. I think a lot of people probably had them down to finish second. I think they're probably the biggest ones. Maybe Turkey. I think a lot of people probably thought maybe Turkey would get out of their group, and I guess the Czech Republic.
Yeah, I mean, Suchek picked up a bad injury there, and it's not come out and said yet, but hopefully it's not an ACL. I think it's an ACL. It finishes his career, don't you?
Yeah, it's not going to be good, is it? Because you're out for like at least 9 to 10 months.
He went down, and you could just see he didn't move. He didn't move. There was none of this play acting. There was none of this triple, double pike back roll and rolling around the floor and the ball hitting you on the shoulder and you're rolled in the face. You know when someone's injured because they don't move. There's none of this play acting, and I still think VAR should interact when there's been play acting, especially when there's. In saying that, probably most players try to have one over the referee and get something done behind their back, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but yeah, like you say, yeah, when you got a bad injury, someone has a bad injury, you know right away, didn't you?
Mm. And all the other players normally know. Most of the other players normally know. Charlie, can you give us a rundown of who's been eliminated?
Um, yeah. So Turkey, you've gone. Haiti, Jordan, Curacao, Tunisia, Panama. I believe Panama was the only team not to actually score at the World Cup. I think that stat might be right. Qatar, Czech Republic, Uruguay, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, New Zealand, South Korea, Iran, Uzbekistan, and Scotland, who Steve
That's a
Clark
shame for the
has
Scots,
resigned.
isn't it? Who's resigned? Resigned, Steve Clark.
Yeah. I think he resigned the moment, yeah, as soon as it that Scotland wouldn't get through, he's gone.
I don't understand that. I mean, what do people expect? With what they've had, he's got them there for the first time in donkey's years. But they was in an hard group. Let's face it, they was in an hard group. You know what I
They
mean? If
was in
England
an
would have
our
been in
group.
with Brazil and Morocco, I think we'd have been going home.
Yeah, I mean, I had them down to finishing third in the group anyway. Um, but I think if anything, they had a hard group to qualify for the World Cup, and then they had to beat Denmark, played really well against Denmark. And I think a lot of people just expected more. Like, listen, if you lose 3-0 to Brazil, no one's gonna, have a go at you for losing 3-0 to Brazil. But I think, they probably should against Haiti, they should have scored more. I don't think they played particularly well. And even Morocco. I know they went 1-0 down early, but again, you kind of expected more from them this World Cup. I did, especially. And they just haven't really turned up.
Do you think not going to tournament football, because there haven't been, for quite a few tournament footballs, do you think that actually is like it stops them knowing, being away for that 4 or 5 weeks, that group togetherness, all the training and everything else that goes wrong. Do you think because they was not used to doing it, it's an excuse, or you just think they didn't play well enough?
Possibly. It's an odd one. I mean, but they've all gone together through qualifying, haven't they? And I mean, all right, I know obviously, I do think the heat comes into it at the World Cup. You always talk a lot, brought about because it's the summer tournament and things. But I just, I watched their games and the highlights and that, and they just didn't turn up. And it was very defensive a lot. There weren't really much going forward. Yeah, and I just kind of I expected them to at least play better, maybe go out on their shield a little bit. And they didn't do that.
Well, I've got to say, everywhere you've looked and everyone you spoke to said what credit the fans was to Scotland, and
Yeah.
Boston literally fell in love with the Scots, didn't it? And hats off to all the Scottish fans out there. It didn't seem to be that there was any trouble around anywhere, and you was an absolute, a credit to your country. And I think Scotland, they were as well. The team as well were a credit to the country. I really
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the fans were brilliant. I loved seeing all the TikTok videos of them in Boston and tatting over baseball games and things like that. I mean, unfortunately, for Scotland, in a way, that's the best thing that's come out of this World Cup for them was how good the fans were. Not necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, I see a video. One of their fans passed away out there, and they did a funeral out there, and so many people went to the funeral, even locals was going because they sort of fell in love with the Scots.
Yeah.
It is a shame. I'd like to have seen them got through. I'm not one of these that sort of, if the Welsh were there, if the Irish were there, I'd sort of want them to get through as well. So just unlucky. But in saying that, they've got there. Maybe they've got a taste of it and they'll come along again in 4 years' time. Charlie, you went on about the heat again. I do want to go on this before we get to England. The hydration breaks. We all know, if you've ever been to America or people that live there, they know that there's adverts literally every other 5 minutes, unless you pay for ad blockers or you pay not to get adverts. And most of the fans now have started booing, especially if it's not been hot. You understand if it's been really hot weather, it's really humid, some of the places. But we've got the hydration breaks, and we know it's really just for adverts for American TV. I did a show about American owners with someone a few years back now, and I warned about American owners coming to the Premiership. Can you ever see this being embraced in the Premiership?
No, I don't think the Premier League would allow it. Our season starts in August, and by maybe if it's a hot one in August, you can kind of understand it, but it starts in August and finishes in May. There's no reason for these hydration breaks to come in.
I hope so. As we know, though, with Premier League, I don't know, with the 20 teams that are there, it needs 14 owners or 14 teams to vote one way, and the Premier League have to take it in. So be careful what you wish for. They're nearly there now. There's nearly 14 American owners, so we'll find out the closer they get. Right, I want to go back to the England game last night, Charles. I had a gig last night, and so I arrived home a little bit late, didn't see the start of it, and I was going to sit outside. It was absolutely sweltering, but ended up sitting in and watching it. The first half, mate, listen, a bit like the other night when we played, was it Ghana we played the other night when they sat deep? And look, 2 banks of 5. We know it's going to happen, and people are going to be trained. And I was listening to Wayne Rooney when he was talking about Carlos Queiroz when he was the manager there, and they played Barcelona, and he said, you've got to keep tight between the lines. I want you to keep this distance. I want you to stay straight. So we knew what was coming. Coming. But I just thought we were so slow, and we were slow in transition. If you want to beat someone, especially with teams that do sit with two banks of 5, you want to play the ball a bit quicker, and you've got to break the play up, and you've got to draw them onto you and move it down. And personally, I said this about Harry Kane before the World Cup. You've gone on forevermore to me and gone, Dad, he is a wonderful footballer, Harry Kane. Forget him just being a forward. He's a wonderful footballer, and people don't realise. And I agree. I absolutely agree. I think you hit the nail spot on the head. My problem has been with Kane for the last few years is he started dropping deep. When he was at Tottenham, he started dropping deep, whether that was through lack of pace, whether that was to draw players on and allow space for the wingers, because Son benefited from it when he was at Tottenham. And I think by what we're doing at the moment, by Harry Kane drawing so deep, we're giving the ball out. Well, I think they've had an absolutely appalling. The wingers, call them who you want, whether it's Rashford, whether it's Madueke, whether it's Gordon, who's the other one that's been playing. I think they've been awful. But in their defence, I think when Kane pulls so deep, if they play that ball out to the wingers and they go, which you want wingers to do, who they got to pass the ball into? They've got nobody. So they've got to try and cut in and shut this up. You've got a rope for a late run from Bellingham. Other than that, we've got nobody else. So I don't know. People's going on about Gordon. Most people, because of Barcelona, got me, God, what a load of rubbish here. I went, no. Gordon's doing a job for Tuchel. He's tracking back, and it's taken away his attacking powers. Do you agree with me? And I mean, even if Harry Kane wants to drop more, then play Ollie Watkins and let's play some ball to feet, because Ollie Watkins wants to turn on the last player, doesn't he? I had balls to Ollie Watkins, no good.
I mean, that's kind of the issue with Kane, isn't it? Because he's got no pace, you've got to have your wingers to get in behind. It kind of does limit you to a certain degree how you play. But I mean, I don't even think we've done that enough. I don't even think we've put enough balls over the top for the wingers to actually get in behind anyway, because especially Ghana and Panama have played so deep. It's a concern that we've really struggled to break these two teams down. We was kind of, I guess looking back, we was kind of lucky that Croatia was so open in a way. But the problem is the Croatia game, the defence was all over the place, especially in the first half. It did improve in the second half, but the first half was awful. And then Ghana was just, I mean, the Ghana game, I'll be honest, I watched the first half downstairs and I knew exactly what game that was. By half time, I actually put my phone in bed and laid down and watched it and ended up falling asleep. And when I woke up again, it was injury time and it was still 0-0. And I thought, well, I'm glad I missed that. And then again, the Panama game last night, you just kind of sat there and you just wanted England to go a bit. And I think it's a real concern that they're struggling to break teams down now. Because, all right, we've got Congo in the next game. You'd expect to beat them. But then I think Mexico will beat Ecuador. And I think we're in trouble when we play Mexico.
Look, I think the problem we have as well, Charles, if he keeps mucking around with sides and changing the wingers, you know my thoughts on Rashford. Rashford is going to want to fly down that left. He's going to want to cut in and he's going to shoot. We had the same problem with us a couple of years ago, West Ham, with Kudus and Bowen. They just kept cutting in and they wanted to shoot, inverted wingers, whatever you want to call them. And he's not for me, Rashford. I know he scores the odd goal, but I think what we're lacking that central midfielder who can spray it, or we're lacking a winger or someone that plays as a 10 who can get hold of the ball and play through the lines. And I know he didn't take him, but I do think at the moment we're missing someone like a Cole Palmer.
I wasn't surprised that he started Saka and Rashford last night. But again, like you say, I mean, even though he was poor, I mean, at least with Rashford, he tries to take his man on. I mean, you know what he's going to do. You know he's going to try and cut in and shoot. And the thing with Gordon is, he's a left footer who's kind of playing on the left, which is quite rare these days. But when you do that, when you play, if you're a left footer on the left wing, they're going to go down the wing and they're going to cross it. And like you say, no one's really going to be there. Bellingham's a weird one because you almost don't really know what he's good at. He always seems to come up with an important goal and stuff, but I've never really sat there after a game and gone, God, Bellingham was unplayable. He's a bit of a weird one.
But where's he playing him, Charlie? Is he playing him as an 8? Is he playing him as a 10?
I think he's playing him as a 10. And he's the one who kind of makes them runs into the box to kind of go beyond Kane. But at the moment, we're not able to do that because, especially with Ghana and Panama, they're playing so deep.
Yeah, but you've got to play the ball quicker. You've got to play the ball quicker. You've got to have good movement, and if you can play the ball to feet quicker and, don't keep just Kane getting it and then looking to spray it left, looking to spray it right, you know, and then giving it and hoping the wingers can get down there. What with Bellingham, if we're gonna have the wingers like Rashford who's gonna go, it's Bellingham who's got to arrive in that box. You know, like a Brian Robson, like a David Platt. Someone's got to get in that box very, very late, you know what I mean, and score the goal. I look at Bellingham now, and even last night, was he really a 10? Was he playing a 10 just off, you know, the 9, as we call it, you know, our old centre forward, you know, an inside forward? I think he was far too deep. And like, you know, we talk about the eat and we talk about, you know, playing X amount of games in a certain amount of time. And I don't know with Bellingham. When he first went into Real Madrid team, I think he scored. He was one of the most consistent player who come in and scored a goal in each game, you know, for a long time. When they signed Mbappe, it's totally ruined Bellingham's game at Madrid. And they've just been uproar. Even Madrid have been in uproar. But I'm looking at Bellingham and I'm thinking, are you that player that can turn a game? He can score a goal, Charlie. I'll give you that. Like, but is he that player? Who have we got to come off the bench who's going to turn the game and take control of it? I always talk about it. Roy Keane against, you know, Man United, Juventus semi-final of the European Cup. He got booked. He weren't playing. 2-0 down, first up. Right, I'm going to take charge of that game. I'm going to get hold of it. I'm going to spray the ball. I'm going to do this. He scored a goal. He carried United himself on his own. Who have we got in the England team that are going to do that?
Not many. I think the problem is that we're quite reliant on Kane. I mean, I've said this for ages about Declan Rice. I'm still waiting for him to drag that team, grab the game by the scruff of the neck and dictate the play and get it through, which I don't think he does enough. But again, you know, we spoke about this before the World Cup. We went to the World Cup with no in-form wingers. Rashford had an okay season. He weren't great. Gordon was all over the place because Newcastle was. Saka has had a terrible season, really, despite Arsenal winning the league. And so is Madueke. I mean, most Arsenal fans don't even like Madueke. And we went there with, I mean, even Bellingham's had a very, you know, quite a poor season. He's had injury problems, whatever else. We've gone to the World Cup with Harry Kane as our only inform attacker. We're not even playing Watkins, really. And then even midfield, again, Anderson, yeah, nice footballer, but you know, where's those passes that's going to go over the top?
But Charlie, you know, when we talk about we get some players, why don't they come up from the Championship? Why don't they come up from the First Division? And they say because when they get to the Prem, it's a level above, and some players ain't got that level. Do you think that international football, some players, is that level above where they're just not good enough? I mean, I looked at Eze when he come on the other night. He looked lost. He looked totally. I'm not blaming him as a player because I think when he was at Palace, I thought he was a fantastic player. You are right about the Arsenal players not liking Madueke, which I don't think helps any player, by the way. If you've got a player in your team, and believe it or not, they're not been that great on Eze. And this is not Eze in particular to Arsenal fans. It's not. But I just thought when he was playing the other night, he looked lost, Charlie. Totally lost.
Yeah. I do think international level, it's a different standard, isn't it, really, international football, especially tournament football as well. I mean, look, let's not all forget, we was never great in group stages under Southgate. You know? So, like, I mean, what was it? What was the last? I think it was the last Euros or something like that, and we really struggled out of that group. But so, you know, again, let's not pretend like we was sailing through the group stages under Southgate, really, and the same's happened again under Tuchel. But I thought this was going to happen because I thought Tuchel was almost like a German Southgate anyway.
Yeah, but Charlie, look, we can go on and on about the players, right? They said to Rio Ferdinand, I watched him do a podcast a few months back, and he said, you was part of that golden generation. He said, you was part of that golden generation when we had the Lampards, we had Gerrard, we had Beckham, we had Scholes. We had a great team, you know, we had him at the back. And he went, why weren't you good enough? Why weren't you good enough? You know, you go back to Venable. And he went, we were never set up right. I don't think we were set up right. I think we should have and could have won more, but we were set up wrong. Do you think Tuchel is setting up wrong? And we've had it at West Ham for God knows how many seasons now. About we've had Moyes, then we had Lopetegui, all defensive coaches, then Potter, and they're just too defensive. Do you think his first ask is be defensive, and we'll worry about attack later? And if we do need to score, we'll try and get one in transition on the break.
Yeah, I think so. I think I do think he kind of went into this World Cup not knowing his best team. I mean, even the defense, and you don't really see O'Reilly getting forward because O'Reilly played a different way for Man City. Guardiola kind of used him to make sure he was in the box for crosses, didn't he, and things like that.
Yeah, but why is O'Reilly? Why don't we look? Sorry, Charlie. If we don't look, if you've got a player he's probably been for me the player that's broke out this season, is it O'Reilly? Yeah. Didn't he score in both the final? Look, if someone comes in and they're playing well in this position, don't ask them to play out of position. I'll say, look, do what you do for your club. Arrive late in the box. What we've spoke about earlier on, that if the wingers get by and they get the ball over, at the moment, we've got to rope Bellingham's on the box because Kane's not there. So let's say, O'Reilly, you get in there next to Bellingham. You get, if you can, obviously if he's playing defensive. Do you think we're training it out of him and training it out of these players, the way they play?
Yeah, he's definitely being told to play a different way than he is for Man City, 100%. But again, this kind of goes back to Tuchel. I mean, he barely took any fullbacks to begin with. Reece James and Livramento are out injured now. He decided to bring up Chalobah, and it's not worked. I mean, this was the one tournament I actually thought Luke Shaw should have got selected in, because at least he's going to bomb past that left winger, and he's going to make runs, and he's going to get balls into the box. And it's like at the moment, he just don't want those fullbacks pushing on that much. Maybe it's because he doesn't want us to get caught on the break or anything like that. But against Panama, it shouldn't really matter. We should be.
No, but the thing is with Reece James, I think he's a beautiful player. I think he's a fantastic player. He's Chelsea's captain, and but we all knew before this tournament that Reece James we going to get 7, 8, 9 games out of him, 7, 8 games out of him, and the answer to that was no. Was it? We weren't going to get it. He's a bit injury prone, so you take him. He left Arnold, didn't he? He didn't pick him in the squad. At least he's a bit more attack minded, and when we do need to score goals, my fear is. Do we know we've got in the next round? Is it Congo?
Congo, yeah. And then if we win that, it'd be either Mexico or Ecuador.
And my fear is if someone scores early, I just don't know who we've got, who we can come on them benches and change the game for us and score late and do different things. Whether the players take it in their own hands and just look, we're going out anyway. But in saying that, let's give the guy Tuchel and the team a bit of a credit here. In this sort of football, all you want to do is qualify. I'm quite sure the Scottish team now would be like to be in our position and go, right, we're qualified. We've played rubbish. We ain't been great. Good fans again. Luckily, there's been no trouble. But let's just qualify. And they've qualified. We got the win against Croatia. I think they run out of puff. I really do. I think they really pushed high on us in that game in the first half. Restricted us, but I think in the second half, Modric went off, didn't he? He pulled all the strings, and they ran out of puff. And I think we beat them in a second game against Ghana. I think the Ghanese should have had a penalty. I thought they were so unlucky last night with that goal that they scored. Panama. It would have been a cracking goal, wouldn't it?
Yeah. It would have been a real good goal. They was unlucky there.
But it's knockout football now. So at the end of the day, it's 90 minutes plus your silly hydration breaks, 96 plus the people rolling around on the floor. So, however long you've got, if you're going to go out, now you're going to lose, you're going to go out. So go out trying for football. Probably come up with England, Charlie. Are you happy with the defence now? You're a lot happy with the defence. I still don't think it's a settled defence.
I still don't think it's a settled defence. And, I mean, Ghana and Panama didn't really test the defense all that much, but again, there were just signs where it just seems a little bit too easy for teams to kind of get at us. And I think, and this is, once we come up against a good side, that's kind of going to be my fear in a way. And I think if we do end up playing Mexico, I think we have to play them in Mexico as well. This is a team that barely lose at the Azteca, and you just think like it's a real one of those games where you think we're kind of going to be in trouble there. I think looking at the table now, I mean, if we get Argentina seem to have like a fairly easy side of the draw, so if anything, we'll probably that'll be the first real good side we'll come up against.
Charlie, let's be honest, mate. For the last 3 tournaments before this, England have had really good runs.
Yeah.
Easy draws. No disrespect to any team.
No, I agree. Yeah,
way.
But we've seemed to have got a decent side of the draw again, if you want to call that. I mean, somehow if Argentina somehow do get knocked out, we've got a real chance of getting to this final. That's for sure.
What I find with the defences, I've been looking at the players, and when we're under attack, all of a sudden our players are looking at each other, and when they start looking at each other, what that means. You should have been there. Why weren't you there? And that doesn't mean there's no cohesion. They're not knowing what they're doing now. If he is a defensive coach, there should be a cohesion. I always go the Arsenal back four. That arm went up in tandem, didn't it, years ago? They were like a team of bar football, weren't they? They was in that line. They knew exactly what they're doing. I don't think we know what to do it. As for Pickford, I truly believe, mate, Everton fans that came me, I think it's an accident waiting to happen. Pickford, I do. And this ball, when they're playing it back to him and he's coming out and playing a bit of I like a sweep. Just honestly, I have to turn me back because I think at some point we're going to get collared.
Oh, I agree. I mean, he's an average goalkeeper, Pickford. He always has been. He has played well for England, but there's a mistake there, 100%.
But let's change the mood. Let's talk about a fantastic story. Cabo Verde, however you want to pronounce them. A country of 500,000 people. I think Western Africa, the nearest country is Senegal. They have got out the group stage. What a story. The goalkeeper seems to have become like a phenomenon around the world. His mum, as we know, she weren't allowed to travel, get a visa. In the end, everyone went mad because he was crying on a podcast somewhere and they got a visa, and there was pictures of her dancing up last night. I see his name like printed all around the stadium. Can we have your shirt? And they've got out the group stage, Charlie, and what a story it would be if they beat Argentina in the next round.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, we was coming into this World Cup, didn't we? And we look at all these teams, new teams, because it's 48, and we were like, the group stage is almost going to be a given for a lot of sides. You always do get one surprise at the World Cup. And that has been them for to get out of the group. I think it's been fantastic. And I mean, the other surprise was in that group the fact that Uruguay couldn't even get out of the group, but and they had a fairly decent side. But yeah, brilliant for Cape Verde, and it's kind of validated FIFA in a way, isn't it? The fact that they've got more teams in it, but it's a great story, and yeah, to go on and beat Argentina, that would be one of the greatest World Cup shocks ever, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I do. Have you seen any standout players throughout this World Cup so far?
No, I'm still kind of waiting. I mean, I know Messi scored a lot of goals, but Argentina play for him, didn't they? Really, but I'm still kind of, I'm almost waiting for someone to kind of turn up at this World Cup. I know Dembele got hat trick against Norway, but that was Norway's second team. No, I at the moment I wouldn't say no real kind of standout in terms of the stars. I mean, but you got Brian Bobby, he's from Sunderland. He's kind of started to play well for Holland and things like that. But I wouldn't say any real standouts. No.
No, I agree. Did you watch the Iran-Egypt game?
I watched the highlights.
They were so unlucky, Iran. I mean, look, you know what? You know my thoughts on VAR. I cannot stand it. I think it's the scourge of society. They scored near the end, Iran, didn't they? Which would have given them a 2-1 win. Possibly got them into the next round. And the whole bench, it was like a release of emotion of everything that's gone on with this war, that's gone on with America and Trump recently, only to have the goal taken away by the length of someone's toenail. It just was so sad. really sad. Do you
Yeah,
think it?
yeah. It was, football can be very cruel at times, can't it? Really, it'd been great for them, and it was a real good game. They'd already missed a penalty, hadn't they? And yeah, like they see the bench go mad, and they thought they'd done it and everything else, and then they even hit the bar afterwards, didn't they? I think as well. But yeah, real unlucky. That was really unfortunate. They played well in that game.
I think everything that had gone on, the way they've been treated, they had to bus into America and bus out, and they weren't, allowed to get here too much time before. It weren't fair. If the team they was playing should have been made to do exactly the same thing, so they arrived, and it just weren't right. I've got to read a message they left in the. Bearing in mind how they've been treated this entire time they've been there, the only game they was allowed to get there 2 hours earlier was the Egypt game, but they left a message in the changing room. It put, from the ancient Persia of thousands of years ago to the modern Iran of today, the spirit of Iran remains alive and strong. We came to Los Angeles with pride and played with honor and left with dignity. Thank you, Los Angeles, for your hospitality. And thank you to every Iranian who gave their heart, voice, and soul for Iran during the time we've been here. May peace, respect, and friendship prevail amongst all nations. Class. That is class.
It was, yeah. And the thing is, you look at it from their side, it's the right thing to do, isn't it? Because again, it just makes Trump look like an idiot. But yeah, I mean, they've come here, they've done what they had to do. They have been treated like crap, and they've still shown that they've abided by everything. And so you can't really knock them for it, can you? Really?
No, they also held up a bit of paper with which said 168 was the number of the schoolgirls that got killed in that bomb that hit school early on in that run. So, yeah, class, absolutely showed their class, and it would have been really nice to see them get through. Charlie, you picked France at the beginning. I picked Spain. We both picked Norway as a dark horse.
Yep.
Do you still stick with France?
I do, just because I know how strong their team is, but I think looking at the way that this group stage is now, well, the knockout stage is set up, I kind of almost, part of me wants to now say Argentina, just because of their route to almost the final. I know they might have to come, we might have to play them, but I wouldn't say we've come into this knockout stages looking good. But I think you look at France. I mean, all right, they got Sweden. Sweden, I think they'll brush Sweden aside quite comfortably, and then they'll have to play Germany, which will be a real interesting game.
Who got beat the other day?
Who got beat, didn't they? Yeah, Ecuador scored like a late goal, didn't they? Which kind of, I mean, that was one of the games Scotland kind of, Germany needed to do them a favour. It didn't really go Scotland's way there. But yeah, I don't know. Looking at this knockout stages now, I'm kind of thinking Argentina again. But the French side is so strong.
Brazil? Do you not fancy Brazil?
There's just still something about Brazil that I'm just still not sure about. And I don't know what it is. They drawed against Morocco, and we all know Morocco are a good side anyway. They was always going to beat Haiti and Scotland. But I don't know. I'm just a little. There's something about them, and I'm not convinced.
I think they've not been tested in defence, Charlie. I think we all know in attack, they got Cunha, they got Vinicius, they got Gomes, you got Paqueta in the team. There's no way it's as strong as a Brazil team from years and years ago. So let's see how they're tested in defence.
Yeah.
Really, like when England can't. I don't think England's next game is going to be any walkover, by the way. I don't think we should jump ahead and think we're going to play Mexico.
Yeah, but Brazil got Japan next, and Japan, Japan I think will test that defence.
They beat them, didn't they? They beat them 3-1 not long ago.
That's the thing, Japan play really well. So that, I think that'll be a real test for Brazil, and then whoever wins that match will play either Ivory Coast or Norway. you kind of maybe would expect Norway to beat the Ivory Coast, but if you ended up bringing Brazil, Norway again, you've then got they've got to deal with kind of Haaland, which would then again test the defence.
Yeah, I agree. For me, there's been I like a young player to come through, and always after the World Cups, it seems like a couple of players that played well in the World Cup get signed to a team in the Premier League, and there's no one that looks like they're on fire to me who stand out. You think, yeah, maybe he looks well. I hope some of these guys from the African countries who's played well. You picked out the guy up front for Sunderland. He always looks a little bit tubby. I got me speaking, but he does look big, doesn't he? But he looks to be playing well. He scored a couple of goals for Netherlands, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, I think he scored 7 goals for Sunderland last year, and I mean, he's had a good World Cup. Fair play to him, and I don't think many people gave Holland much chance because this is not the Holland. It's not like a Holland squad of old, which we kind of said about Brazil, but. They're playing well, Holland. There seems to be a bit of a togetherness there with them.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're gone under the radar. I think the
Yeah.
Dutch, for whatever reason, we always think they're going to be up there, but we're playing them. They're gone under the radar. Who's going to finish top scorer? Because it seems like certain players are scoring for fun at the moment.
The top scorer one's going to be interesting. It seems like it's going to be high as well. This top goal scorer thing. It will be interesting. You do hope Kane gets there in the end, but I think the fact that we're struggling to break teams down is a bit of an issue for him. At the moment, you're kind of looking at Messi and Mbappe, but then there's a lot of players behind them as well. The top goal scorer one is actually a real interesting one.
You've got to play the ball quicker, Charlie. If you want to
Yeah.
beat teams that sit with banks of 5, you've got to play the ball quicker and you've got to have good movement. If you ain't got good movement, you've got no one people who can pass the ball through and you've got to make runners. And the problem is with people like Rashford, it don't seem like I'm digging Rashford out, but if Rashford does 3 or 4 runs and he don't get the ball, he seems to get a bit sulky and don't make them runs. It doesn't matter if you make 20 of them runs. If you make that one run that scores the goal, you've got to make the ones between the lines. And in defence, we've got to stay as a unit and stay in the lines and go forward together and come back to it and not have too much distance between the line. With me, we've just got too much distance up front between who's ever coming up next and who's ever going. Like I said, you would have wired players earlier on. They can't. I'm knocking them, but they can't actually get the ball over. Charlie, it's been a pleasure. We've seemed to have done 37 minutes without Robbie. We always blame Robbie for going on. He mentions Tottenham in every video we do. Hopefully he's seeing Spooner up there. It's been an absolute pleasure. Guys, please write in the comments. Please be respectful. We're looking for a few more subscribers, so please subscribe and like. It don't cost you anything. If you want to come on the channel, feel free. We'll get you on and put in the comments who you think's going to World the Cup. Take care, Charlie. Have a great weekend.
You too.
Thank you for watching, everybody.